One of the earliest recorded battles in history, the Battle of Megiddo, was led by Pharaoh Thutmose III. This engagement is famous not for destruction, but for meticulous planning and the clever use of terrain. Thutmose carefully analyzed the enemy's positions and selected a route that allowed his forces to surprise the opposition. The Egyptian army relied on discipline, coordination, and intelligence gathering rather than brute force. Megiddo also illustrates the importance of leadership presence, as Thutmose himself guided his troops, boosting morale and ensuring smooth execution of the plan. The outcome established Egypt's dominance over the Levant and showcased the strategic genius of its pharaohs. This battle set a precedent for future military planning, emphasizing intelligence, timing, and the creative use of environmental advantages. Megiddo remains a lesson in how foresight and innovation can secure success without relying on sheer violence. The Battle of Kadesh, led by Pharaoh Ramses II, was one of the largest recorded battles in the ancient world, and it demonstrates the power of strategy and negotiation. Ramses used extensive reconnaissance and intelligence to anticipate the movements of the Hittite forces. Instead of focusing on destruction, he carefully deployed chariots and infantry to outmaneuver opponents while maintaining his lines. Kadesh also highlights the use of communication and signaling, ensuring coordination across large forces. Though often depicted as a contest, the battle ultimately led to a historic treaty that ensured peace and mutual benefit. This makes Kadesh a prime example of diplomacy intertwined with military skill. Ramses II's leadership reinforced Egypt's influence in the Near East, proving that the most daring battles are not always about winning by force, but about combining planning, presence, and negotiation to achieve lasting success. Kadesh teaches that strategy extends beyond the battlefield. Pharaoh Ramses II used intelligence, positioning, and observation to gain advantage, and then formal diplomacy to secure long-term stability. The battle underscores the importance of preparation, situational awareness, and communication. Egyptian soldiers were trained to operate efficiently in complex situations, and their coordination ensured that even challenging engagements could be managed without chaos. Kadesh also demonstrates the psychological element of leadership. Ramses' confident presence bolstered his troops' morale, turning potential confusion into clarity. The result was not merely a military success, but a demonstration of Egypt's ability to combine tactical brilliance with strategic foresight. This battle reminds us that the greatest victories often involve subtlety, planning, and wisdom, rather than just direct confrontation, setting a model for leadership that transcends time. When Pharaoh Psamtik III faced the Persian army, led by Cambyses II, the strategic significance of Pelusium became apparent. This city controlled the eastern Nile Delta and served as a vital gateway into Egypt. The Egyptians used knowledge of geography, fortifications, and river channels to manage troop movement and secure key positions. Instead of focusing on violence, the emphasis was on controlling access, defending resources, and coordinating regional forces. The battle demonstrates how terrain, preparation, and intelligence play critical roles in achieving strategic goals. While the outcome favored the Persians historically, the Egyptian tactics provide insight into the skill and organization of their armies. Pelusium remains a prime example of how ancient Egypt approached defense intelligently, emphasizing preparation, positioning, and the use of natural and man-made landscapes to influence the course of conflict. The Battle of the Delta involved Pharaoh Ramses III defending Egypt against a seafaring coalition often referred to as the Sea Peoples. What makes this battle remarkable is how Egypt relied on innovative naval strategies, including fortifications along the coast and well-coordinated ships and archers. The Egyptians carefully utilized their knowledge of the Nile's branches and the coastline to channel and control enemy movements. By combining land and naval tactics, they created an environment where the attackers could not achieve surprise. The Battle of the Delta demonstrates the Egyptian skill in multidimensional warfare and how careful planning could turn potential chaos into manageable operations. Ramses III's leadership exemplifies vision, preparation, and tactical ingenuity. This engagement illustrates that ancient Egypt's battles were often contests of intelligence, coordination, and foresight rather than direct conflict, making it a lasting lesson in strategic defense. Throughout Egypt's history, Nubia in the south was both a source of valuable resources and a strategic frontier. Pharaohs like Thutmose III and Amenhotep II often engaged in campaigns designed to secure borders rather than destroy foes. These operations relied on swift movement, reconnaissance, and careful placement of forts along key trade routes. By controlling Nubia, Egypt protected its southern provinces and ensured access to gold, ivory, and other essential materials. Battles in this region emphasized logistics, timing, and knowledge of the terrain, highlighting the Egyptians' advanced understanding of resource management in military contexts. These campaigns were daring because they required rapid decision-making in challenging environments, from deserts to the Nile's cataracts. The focus was always on achieving strategic objectives while preserving the integrity of the kingdom, showing that ancient Egyptian warfare valued intelligence, preparation, and efficiency over chaos or destruction. Memphis, the ancient capital, was often a strategic focal point in conflicts, including during the late Ptolemaic period. Controlling Memphis meant controlling Egypt's political and economic heart. Battles in and around the city emphasized tactical planning, the positioning of troops, and securing key river passages. Leaders relied on fortifications, signaling, and careful coordination to achieve their goals. For example, during internal conflicts or attempts at external invasion, the pharaohs prioritized city defense, logistics, and diplomacy over direct engagement. The battle's daring lay in the planning, precision, and timing necessary to manage complex urban and riverine environments. Memphis serves as a reminder that ancient Egypt's strategic genius often focused on control, preparation, and the intelligent use of geography to secure objectives. In essence, battles were intellectual exercises as much as physical ones, showcasing foresight and leadership. Pharaoh Seti I conducted campaigns in the Levant to secure Egypt's northern borders. At Heliopolis, the Egyptians relied on precise coordination of troops, observation posts, and supply lines. By integrating intelligence about enemy movements with disciplined unit deployment, Seti I maintained control over the battlefield. The daring of this engagement comes from the meticulous organization required, communication across distances, rapid troop movement, and coordination of both infantry and chariots. Heliopolis demonstrates how ancient Egyptian warfare emphasized preparation, observation, and adaptability. The battle also strengthened Egypt's influence in the region, ensuring the safety of trade routes and political interests. Here, as in other engagements, strategy, leadership, and terrain mastery mattered far more than destruction. Heliopolis stands as an example of how ancient Egypt approached conflicts with intelligence, precision, and calculated risk, cementing their reputation as a sophisticated military power. During the late period, Egyptian defenses included operations to protect coastal cities such as Jaffa. This siege highlights the Egyptians' focus on fortifications, control of supply lines, and coordination of multi-layered defenses. By positioning forces strategically along walls, rivers, and roads, they created barriers that were difficult to penetrate without relying on direct combat. The operation also showcased diplomacy and negotiation, often resolving conflicts without full-scale engagement. The daring here lay in planning, timing, and resource management. Egyptian commanders needed foresight to anticipate challenges and react to changes in enemy behavior. Jaffa exemplifies ancient Egypt's unique approach to battles, where intellect, structure, and environmental mastery were prioritized over brute force. It remains a testament to the sophistication of Egyptian military strategy and their ability to secure objectives while minimizing direct confrontation. Throughout its history, ancient Egypt also demonstrated mastery in naval strategy. Pharaohs such as Ahmose I and Ramses III organized fleets to patrol and defend Mediterranean trade routes. These engagements focused on positioning, coordination, and environmental knowledge rather than combat. Ships were used to control channels, secure supplies, and maneuver forces strategically along the coast. The daring element lay in navigating complex waterways, anticipating enemy movements, and managing communication across vessels. Egypt's naval operations highlight the integration of intelligence, logistics, and leadership in securing borders and trade interests. These campaigns contributed significantly to Egypt's long-term prosperity. They show that even in maritime engagements, success depended on careful planning, discipline, and innovative thinking, reflecting the civilization's overarching principle. Mastery of strategy and preparation over reliance on force or confrontation. The Nile Delta was Egypt's lifeblood, and defending it required constant vigilance and strategic foresight. Pharaohs built forts, canals, and signaling systems to monitor movements from the Mediterranean. Engagements in this region often emphasize control of access points, rapid troop movement, and coordination across multiple sites. Leaders face the challenge of balancing defense with economic stability, ensuring trade and agriculture remain secure. The daring aspect was maintaining control over a sprawling, complex region prone to seasonal floods and potential incursions. Egyptian commanders relied on intelligence, observation, and disciplined planning to navigate these challenges. Protecting the Delta demonstrates that ancient Egyptian battles were often about foresight and environmental mastery. The lessons here highlight the importance of preparation, adaptability, and leadership in achieving strategic goals without resorting to violence or destruction. Across these top 10 battles, a clear pattern emerges. Ancient Egypt prioritized intelligence, planning, and leadership over direct confrontation. From Megiddo to the Delta, pharaohs relied on terrain, observation, engineering, and diplomacy to achieve objectives. Soldiers were trained in coordination, signaling, and discipline, and leaders were present and engaged in guiding operations. These engagements were as much about securing trade, resources, and borders as they were about asserting power. The daring in Egyptian battles lay in creativity, foresight, and the ability to manage complex situations. This focus on strategy over brute force allowed Egypt to endure and thrive for thousands of years. The civilization's success was rooted not just in wealth or monuments, but in the intelligence and innovation applied in protecting and expanding its influence across the region. The top 10 battles of ancient Egypt reveal a civilization that mastered strategy, planning, and leadership. From Megiddo to naval engagements in the Mediterranean, these moments were defined by intelligence, coordination, and foresight rather than destruction. Pharaohs like Thutmose III, Ramses II, and Seti I demonstrated daring not through violence, but through preparation, observation, and innovative tactics. These campaigns secured borders, protected trade, and extended Egypt's influence, leaving a legacy of ingenuity and resilience. Ancient Egyptian battles teach us that true power lies in intellect, discipline, and the ability to anticipate challenges. By examining these engagements, we see a civilization that transformed adversity into opportunity, ensuring prosperity and stability for millennia. The story of Egypt's strategic brilliance continues to inspire, reminding us that courage and daring can be measured in wisdom, not just conquest.
Please subscribe and look for more documentaries at Swords and Shadows.